welcome back guys. Warhound Titan project number 6. Here in this part we will talk about the head and the central torso assembly, especially the order you have to glue things to avoid issues later while fitting everything together. I think for this one, maybe for the next video, I still have only access to my second camera, so no bird's view. I apologize. For the other videos it will get better. The head of the Warhound Titan consists of a few pieces. You have on both sides the little electronical panels you can glue, and you theoretically can glue these to the sides like I show you here, but then you will realize, oh, it's one fitting, and I realized this here. And I was able, oh my gosh, I cannot really fit this in, won't fit. So before the super glue got really solid, I was able to take out the side panel. It's also not in the manual, and I thought this would fit. So these little side panels do this after slotting in the moderati at the princeps seats. Now the princeps is the big guy in the middle, the moderati are the two guys in the front, which can be easily assembled. So princeps first, or nothing at all if you want to paint everything outside of the head. I decided to do exactly that. I painted these models without gluing them together. So you fit in the princeps, then both the side panels. You should file them a little bit so they neatly fit to the side, this curved edge of the grills of that of the head capsule of the cockpit. And you can do the same with the moderati. The moderati can be easily put in together. Here you can see that the Warhound Titan, the head cover is not fitting perfectly, so I have to heat up this piece to get a solid and good fit. I was surprised a little bit because the rest of the Warhound Titan was from high quality, and here I was really unable to do that. So you see there are huge gaps here, and but this could be fitted easily with heating the cover, and I will show you this later. On the back of the seats you have two little pieces, and these little pieces are the headrests of the moderati seats. These are a few tiny pieces where you can see here in the middle the 4 tiny holes. You put the headrest in there. You can of course do this immediately, and afterwards glue in the moderati. I will overlay an overview about the right order in a few seconds. The head itself, it's not very heavy, so later you will see me connecting. Here you see the headrest. Later you see me connecting with 2 tiny rods the ball joint of the head to the torso unit. These little pieces, I just cut the resin residue part and look if they can slot in there. Theoretically it's just a tight fit, so you don't even have to glue these, but you don't want to lose them later, so I would recommend gluing them in. I was honestly quite lucky to find these. I was very diligent in keeping all material, and even some of the I thought were just like waste and residues, but these can be easily overlooked, especially as they look so tiny and on both sides similar. I thought this was like a stabilizing unit during the casting process, so take care that you really identify these at the very beginning. So tiny dot of super glue, the liquid version, more fluid version, and I will glue these. So take care that they are on the same height as you can see them when you keep the cover open or accessible. This is honestly your choice. Now you can glue this together. The issue is that the Warhound Titan has no real eye cover. I saw people putting some foil behind on the inside of the head cover to avoid that you could look into the Warhound Titan. For me, it looks quite, well, quite, not stupid, but weird that you have this open cockpit. Although of course there might be shutters and everything, but they are not on the model. So if you glue the head cover on top, you cannot really at least prime the inside of the head. So I would definitely not glue it, and on the very end I did not glue it at all. So coming back to the head cover, as I mentioned before, it's not fitting very well. So what I did, I heated the overall cover, and I adjusted it to the front first. So I put in the snout, the front part of the snout, hold this, and then I was squeezing down here at the very end with my pointing fingers towards the central piece, and that worked out quite well. I had not to use any fillers, or I had to work to close these gaps. If you heat this, you can easily arrange that without bending it too much. I started to file a few of the impurities here on the side, because the head is always a piece where your eyes will be drawn to. Nonetheless, I plan to do some plasma glow effect, as you can see in the thumbnail of these videos, after this thing has been painted. But the head is always a very important part of the model, and so it's definitely worth spending a little bit more time cleaning it up. The back of the head, something I can tell you, and we'll see this in a bit, has to be covered with with some cover for the neck itself. It has some pipes and cables on it, and later you will connect the head piece from below with some cable connectors to the torso. But I have a video exclusively for the cables and the adjustments here. So I will speed up the process here a bit to show you how I set this up. What you can see here while this is speeding up, that I'm very careful with the pressure I apply with my thumbs on the Titan. I do not want to bend the resin too much. The manual coming to the upper body has a center wall, a centerpiece. It's like a little door which connects one piece of the machinarium with the front part. It just fit in one position due to a little slider on the side, so you cannot really put this in on the wrong side. And this part is connected then with the side panels, these engine blocks, and then with the front part. So you have this back part here attaching directly to the front segment with the headrest, and this forms, and that is the tricky part, that forms then the unit to put on the hip. and this door is connecting these two departments. Overall, that is a great fit. It was a little bit too wide, so I had to heat up this exact piece here. And what I do is I will heat up the overall section here, and I will try to squeeze this together a little bit to give me maybe like 2 or 3 millimeters I can cover with that. And don't be too hesitant using or trying to bend such huge block of resin. You just have to take your time and really take your time to heat this up slowly and evenly, and from both sides. And if you do that, you can bend these big chunks and pieces without being afraid of damaging the piece. So I really put this down here to rest in slow circles. I went back and forth on a lower temperature, and I really spent my time doing this, but just heat it up evenly. That will help you. So after really the time, you see it's starting to get flexible. That's all what I wanted. So I will fit in now the door, and then I will press carefully from both sides to this together to get a good fit. Depending on how sensitive you are, use some clamps or something to hold it, but at this time the resin is warm but not super hot, so you can easily hold that and even test fit another piece while the resin is cooling down. You can put this whole chunk in a glass of cold water to speed up the process, but my experience is, but honestly it's just a personal preference, it's just to wait a little bit, blow on it to cool it down. So this was honestly nearly the biggest or the only change or the only adjustment I had to do with the centerpiece. Really good fit again, and now I'm thinking about how can I attach this piece with the other one. And this piece is overlapping the back piece with the front part. And the trick is, or the question is here, how can you pin that? And what I did, I used the overlapping part of the back engine part of the centerpiece and drilled directly from top down into the resin and connected these. I will later also drill the big chunks on this little overlapping part into the exhaust part to give an additional stability, and I will do a second drill to fit these huge side chunks into on the very lower part with 3 millimeter rods to the middle. So I'm not only connecting one part, I'm connecting every piece which is each other on their contact side. So first of all, I think this is really great in this build. The connector to the hip is one part. You are not enclosing the hip part. So you have one, here you see this round edge. This is the cavity fitting on the hip. And that's super. Yeah, but still you have to connect these two, and there's a lot of weight on this front part, and so really it was very challenging for me as a beginner in Titan building. How can I pin these? And here I will use these little overlapping parts of the floor and use 2 millimeter rods to pin directly from the top into the front section. And that was, from my perspective, a good decision, as you cannot really see these little holes. You can cover them easily, as they are not they don't have this this structure. They are besides the structured part. And later, when you paint the interior, you won't have an issue seeing these little pins. So I'm just scraping a few of the missed parts where I've seen mold lines. I'm just trying to improve the structure a little bit, make it more smooth, more even. And really what's looking like a few minutes process here was really some time consuming process to think about how can I really connect these two pieces. Maybe you can see my struggle here, and I was just like thinking, going back and forth. Another important thing is with the centerpiece, don't glue the door in. If you glue the door in, you have no place for your brush to paint something. So the door has to be fitted last. So at least you can paint a little bit. If you really go full in, totally in, maybe you have even to paint the whole interior first before you assemble that. And I decided to keep it like this, like you see here, without the door in the middle. This was one piece I wanted to glue together. And I think I could manage that, reaching every point here, every location. And I even painted part of the side engine blocks, the one laying in the middle of my cutting mat, the one with a few things there. I painted these first before I glued them together. So that's something you must really consider. How can I assemble it that I am able to paint the model? So what I do is I have used my rotary tool, but as always you can use your hand drill. As always, I use my my wool polishing bit for any impurity here. Nothing harder. And I now use a little 2mm drill to drill the holes in from the top into the front torso part. That's what I want to do. Check in that what I did here, I was just looking if with the big holding part the drill will fit. And I used this, I remember I used this 1mm drill and 0.7mm rods to stabilize that. So you can always check. You can always check for the drill if everything is fitting when you drill into a piece of resin. So everything is working now, and I hold this piece together very tightly, and I go straight down through the part of the besides the door into, but not through the model. So, and as you can see here already, these little rods will fit in perfectly. I test fitted the little rods, and they have been deep enough to cause enough or to create enough stability. Here you can see the hole. Slot the rod in, check if everything is stable, and you see working perfectly fine. So I scratch marked the position of the rod, so I can easily cut it later. Check, yeah, I could see I couldn't really see them good enough, so I just put this back in and used instead a little red colored marker and marked the part of the piece. And as always, I prefer to cut it with a saw, but whatever works for you. If this is an angle grinder, nippers or saw will work, but the saw will give you a very blunt and nice edge. I used one of the rods because I drilled holes in the same length. I used one of the rods to put in to check the length of the other one. I test fitted everything. They slot in easily, and as you can see, it's really stable. It's a good positioning, and that's all. There you have a good solid pinned torso section.